Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it. Coaches, the JAMODI podcast is powered by Shoot 360. The future of basketball has arrived in Dallas-Fort Worth. Shoot 360 combines the latest sports technology with the fundamentals of basketball skill development. The result is a one-of-a-kind video game-like basketball program designed to improve your shooting, dribbling, and passing. Visit shoot360dfw.com to learn more and register for your free 1-hour workout evaluation. Shoot 360, the future of basketball is here. So I've followed you on social media closely over the years and had some conversations with you, and I love take the stairs mentality. So I want to go deeper into what are some of the standards or pillars of your program.
Yeah, so we have 5. We actually, we have these little wristbands here, but tough, competitive, selfless, ownership, and communicate are our 5. The toughness is kind of, what we kind of set our standard for. We believe, in fact, my shirt says it, toughness is a talent. We say it all the time with our guys, the toughest team always wins. So, if we're recruiting a player, we definitely want them to be tough, mentally and physically.
Can I stop you right there,
yes.
Coach? Okay, recruiting a player, you want to be tough. What are some things that show you toughness in a player?
So I would say, a guy that, will block out, that'll take a charge, that'll play defense, that plays hard the whole time, making the extra effort, and it goes very closely with the next one, being competitive. I think those two kind of go hand in hand. And the competitive guy, he's gonna do whatever it takes to help his team be successful. He's gonna not give the other team an easy basket. The other guy may be quicker, faster, better, but the competitive guy is gonna fight him, tooth and nail, and do whatever it takes. A guy that just graduated for us, Nick Stampley, I can remember he was the first guy we signed at Troy. And his coach, Jeremy Schulman at Eastern Florida, he sent a clip of him at the down at Hutch, and it was this clip of the ball rolling on the floor, and Nick, went and dove, did that picture of Dennis Rodman, and he slid for 10 feet on the floor. And I hadn't even watched the kid play live, at the time, but the guy on my staff, Mike Worley, had seen him, and one of the other guys on my staff had seen him, and I was sold right then and there. He got all tournament team, but then, once you see in the way his coach talked about him, and he kind of really helped establish our culture here, because he would do all the little things. He would communicate. He would be intense. He would be tough. He was always in the gym. We call it OKG, our kind of guys. I stole that from the old Boise State football coach Peterson, and actually back when we were at Arlington, we had a stretch where we were really good around 2011-12, and then we dipped a little bit, and then I got with Coach Young and the rest of the staff, and we said we were just going to recruit OKGs, and finding guys that are, high character, that are tough, that are selfless, that are high production, low ego. Those were the guys that we were going to take. And we actually had 2 kids on an official visit, and, they were very good players. But during the visit, we just got the vibe that they were very, very entitled. They were, asking for this and that. And we're offering you a full scholarship, and it just was nothing was good enough. And so at that point, we actually I told Coach Young, I was like, man, call up Kevin Hervey. We weren't even recruiting Kevin Hervey. And so he calls him up. We set up a home visit 2 days later. We go over there, man, his mom and dad and him were just so appreciative of us offering him a scholarship. And I'll never forget his mom made us banana bread pudding, and just like they're the most humble, nicest people around. And like another week later, he comes up on an official visit. We sign him, and he becomes the first player in the history of the program to go to the NBA. Now that that was very very fortunate, but that was like when our decision came. Okay, we're recruiting OKGs. Guys that are high character. They're going to appreciate the little things. They're going to work hard. They're not going to be entitled. And from that recruiting class on, that was kind of when we established and kind of sustained success. At that point. And so I forget where we were going with it.
Yeah, well, no,
Yeah.
the things in your bracelet. So what else?
Yes.
Yeah, toughness
So
and
tough,
competitiveness.
competitive, ownership. Ownership to me is, like guys owning, taking responsibility, accountability for everything within the program. So, not letting things go. Like one of the things that stuck out with me, like Dak Prescott. I don't know if you remember that clip where he threw his cup and he missed the trash can. Well, an entitled player would just say, "Hey, there's people there to pick it up." Well, Dak didn't do it. He went and he picked up his piece of trash and he put it in there, and like that stuck out to me. I showed it to our team, both at Arlington and here at Troy. Like to me, that's the definition of ownership. Like,
Yeah,
it wasn't somebody else's job. He took ownership of it. And so if you see some this is our home here, Trojan Arena, so keeping your locker room clean, keep when we leave the bus, picking up your trash and putting it in the trash, not relying on the bus driver to do it. Just all those little things, I think it just adds up. But just getting the guys to really own Troy Trojan basketball. And then ownership. I'm sorry, that was ownership. Selfless. We talk about their most important role is to be a great teammate. More than anything else, just be a great teammate. And so uh, I think that's probably the hardest one. It was hard for me. I know as a player, I talk about it with them all the time. Like it's not easy to be on the sideline and watch the guy that's playing the same position play, but you have to hide those emotions. You're not going to change the fact that you want to be out there, but you can change the fact that he can never know that you're pulling against them, that the coach can never know, that the fans can never know, that you don't ruin our energy or our vibe because you look sad coming off the floor or throw a temper tantrum or whatever. You have to cheer him on, and flipping it and taking it as a teammate approach. Okay, you go wear him down. Then when I come back in there, I'm going to wear him down, and we're just going to go at him. So just kind of flipping the switch, and just it's such a hard one. But the great teams that I've been a part of, the majority, maybe 13, 14 out of 15 guys, have been very, very selfless. And then the last one would be communicate. And I would say, we emphasize being loud on the floor. We say the intensity of your voice determines the intensity of your actions. I talk about it all the time. Like just when you close out, we put our hands up and we yell ball, and we want to be loud. When they shoot a shot, we want to yell shot as loud as we can. In a game, if it's a 5-point game, that's 2 shots. Like if you can just affect 2 shots with your voice, why would you not yell shot? I mean, you cannot tell me you're a great shooter. I've watched you shoot. I tried really hard to sign you at UT Arlington. But if I yell shot as loud as I can at you, you cannot tell me that you're gonna shoot better with me yelling right in your face every time.
Yeah.
And so, just putting a hand in their face and communicating is also letting your teammate know what's going to happen. If they hear screen before the screen hits them, they can look and they have about that much space to where they can get around the screen. If the screens hit them and they don't know, they're not getting around the screen. They're going to have to, fight through it, and they're not going to get by. It's going to be tough to get through it. And so, and then also communication off the court, just being a man. I'll work with our guys. There's been many, many times, as long as they communicate ahead of time, hey, coach, I have a family reunion in June. Would it be possible for me to be gone that week? Sure.
So not the day of. You want
right.
some.
Yes, yes. And so, like, I'll work with our guys. I mean, it's a little tougher during the season because you can't give a bunch of days off, but
Right.
like out of season, I mean, you get 4 hours a week. I can have those 4 hours on a Monday and Tuesday. I can have them on a Friday, Saturday. There's a lot of flexibility. It's not the end of the world if you miss 2 workouts. Just communicate, and you know, just that's probably my toughest one. And I tell the guys that too. I have to do a better job. I do get caught up in, watching film, organizing practice, figuring out what we're going to run, how we're going to stop the opposing team. I have to be intentional about, communicating with our guys, individually, off the floor. It's not that I'm more introverted. I love figuring stuff out, but so that's one that I constantly have to force myself to work on. But I am a loud person on the court. That's easy for me, but
Yeah.
Off the court, I have to be more intentional about it.
Man, love the culture. I mean, love the flow of all five of those ideas. A lot to unpack, but one thing you said early on with you talking about toughness, just something I've always struggled with. Does a player either have it and you can make them even more tough? If they don't seem to have any toughness, can you make them tough? What are your thoughts?
For sure. I mean, I would say it's just like anything. You can make a 7 into a 10. You can make a 2 into a 6 or a 7, probably. So if they have none and you have a really, really tough team, you can definitely raise them up. Uh, if they have a lot of toughness coming in, you can definitely, get them all the way to the top. So I do think it's something that you can improve. The more tougher guys you have around them, it's definitely going to raise, the weak link up. And if you have too many soft guys around, then it can definitely have the opposite effect on your culture. So, you can't take too many guys that, are twos or threes. You can maybe have one or two guys on there, but the majority of the guys need to be sixes and sevens on there.
I think what you said about selflessness is, yeah, I don't care what era you're talking about. That's always a struggle with players that think that they should be getting more, but they're not. And you and I have been on that bench too,
Yeah.
where we have to stand and clap and cheer for the guy coming out. And my question is, so sometimes on a high school team, especially, you might have one or two that are so far above skill wise that that me monster really does. The kids know, like, he's just so far above. I can't. Like, we had Tyler Lumblade a few years ago. Nobody said a thing when Tyler shot 20 shots in a game. It was just it's okay. I need advice because this year we have 5 or 6 guys that are skilled. Any given night can have a good night, especially shooting wise. And I guess I'm anticipating that me monster coming out when they sub, when they see other guys having a good night, and maybe 2 or 3 games go by and it's not their night. When you see that, how do you address it? What do you do to, man, just try to keep that away, that human nature away as best you can?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I would say it's something that you have to be very diligent about and use every last resource from every person on your staff, trying to get in that person's ear, to meeting one on one, to showing examples of NBA teams. I'm sure if you do digging on it, like the Kentucky team that actually one of my Arlington teams played against it, where Booker, I don't think he started a game on that team, and he's a first round draft pick and an NBA All Star. So like it's not the end of the world. There's so many examples of guys that came off the bench. It's hard to embrace that role, but just highlighting those examples. and just constantly, maybe bringing people in to talk, former players, just stories that you can give to them, and it's hard to do. I think that's probably the hardest thing we do as coaches is manage egos. There's nothing harder. That's why I've got, there's 6 total people on our staff here. That's the biggest, challenge that we face during the season is, how do you manage it? How do you get them all on the same page? Because if they all are all on the same page, you're going to overachieve. If they're not, you're probably not going to be as good as you could be. And so, talking about, winning a championship and, if they're all on the same page, you have a chance. If they don't, you're not going to. I mean, the most talented team probably very, very seldom wins. You look at anywhere from the NBA to college, it's very, very seldom the most talented team that wins the championship. 9 times out of 10, it's going to be the team. Obviously, they have a lot of talent.
Yeah,
but
the
they're going to be
combination.
upper half, but they're going to have unbelievable team chemistry. I mean, there's very few teams probably that are winning a championship that don't have great team chemistry.
Yeah, that's good. And I love the idea too of utilizing assistants. We have our JV and varsity practice together. One, because of gym space, but also I like to have them all in the gym. I like to have our coaches all in the gym, and I think that's a great nugget for me to assign them because we want to celebrate the good habits that we see instead of always just hitting the negative ones that we see. That's easy, but to celebrate, because then when one player hears that celebration, others, because I think deep down everybody is a pleaser of some kind, others will follow up with, oh, that's what he's looking for. I'll do that too. So that's a good nugget.
Yeah, I think the selfless, just teaching it to your guys in every format possible, from the greatest servant of all time, Jesus, to Tim Duncan, to just there's so many selfless guys that the more stories that you can put in front of the guys, it may not change them completely, but if you can just change them a little bit to where it's not a problem, then you're probably going to be okay.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.